Hello, I am Sandra Turner-Barnes, and it is my pleasure to be here today. And welcome to the bookstore. I feel welcome. I feel happy. One of the books I want to talk about is But Mostly Love, which is dedicated to my mommy. So this is like divine. This is just divine to be able to talk about Miss Betty today, and the blessings that she gave me in being able to write and to teach and to talk and to share. It is the most wonderful comical story, and I love telling it. My older brother and I used to fight all the time, but we were not allowed to fight out loud. Mommy say no noise, that mean no noise. So we would write each other little insult poems and slide them underneath the bedroom door. Oh God, and my brother was a great writer, but his book was autobiographical, and it was called The Turnaround, and it talked about his life from a 13-year-old that was always in trouble to becoming a full-grown man who turned his life around and taught young men how not to go that same path. And we lost him last April 9th, but he was my best friend, my dearest, oldest and best friend. And I'm so happy to talk about him as well. It means this feeling that comes over you. You know, I get those inspirations at 4 o'clock in the morning. It wakes me out of my sleep. It says that I need you to be my vessel right now, so get up and do this. Get up and write this. And so I get those inspirations all the time. I'm in the process of writing all kinds of things right now that I am inspired to write. I'm writing something for the young girls who are becoming beautiful bullies and thinking they need to jump on, beat on, and dampen someone else's light, thinking that's going to make theirs shine brighter. You know, I'm writing about this, you know, these killing machines that you can walk in the store and buy, and these cowards who purchase these guns because they don't put themselves in danger. You know, they go where they're safe to kill. They pick on our babies, and they pick on the innocent within our churches, and they pick on people out trying to have a good time. They don't go where the other guns are, you know. They don't do that. They go where they're safe to kill. I'm constantly writing. I'm always writing about historical things that impact the African American community. You know, I can't stop that. I can't stop that at all. But the inspiration comes, and it can be in a child's face, or on a senior citizen's smile, or just something I hear on the news. It's just, you know, a word spoken in church. It can just come from anywhere, and I'm listening. With all my heart, I'm listening. There are so many stories I could tell, because God blessed me not only to read them and to learn about them, but for the most part to meet them. Sonia Sanchez, Amir Baraka, Hakima Habudi, Gwendolyn Brooks, Toni Morrison, Nikki Giovanni, what are you talking about? Lord, it's like, it behooves me. When I met Gwendolyn Brooks, and I met her in 1999 in Chicago at the Black Writers Conference, and that's when I got to see Sonia and Lamont Steptoe and all the other guys, because they would go where Mama Poet was. And so Gwendolyn Brooks is autographing my book, and I'm standing there and I'm looking at her and I'm like, oh, I love you so much. And I said to her, I write because of you. And she looked up at me and she smiled and she said, oh baby, you probably would have written anyway. And I said, They told me I couldn't. They told me you can't, but you told me I could. You won the Pulitzer Prize. It doesn't get no better than that, you know. And so she's signing, you know, and she flipped the book over and opened it in the back, and she keeps on signing. I'm going like, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait. And she handed it to me, and I hugged her, and she said, baby, in the back is my address and telephone number. Send me your work. I was like, I couldn't wait to get back to Jersey. I went got back to Jersey. I put together this package and I sent it to her. And she called me on the telephone. Gwendolyn Brooks called me on the telephone. And she said, baby, I just want to make sure I got the right address because I got something to send you and I'm sending it out tomorrow. And I was said, yes ma'am, that's it, you've got it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And she got sick. And I never received it. And she died in 2000. But she will be 100, well she would be 100 years old in 2017 rather. And the University of Chicago is doing this huge birthday celebration, and they have all of her papers and artifacts and things, and I'm told that my things are among those, and that I should contact them about, you know, participating in that. And I'd be so excited to do that. I really would. She was Mama Poet to me. And when she won the Pulitzer Prize, such a remarkable story to show you how good God is. She had her 2 children with her in the movie theater. And they stayed there all day because her electricity was off at home. And this blessing came along at the time, I think it was $50,000. And so that award set her life right. And I'm just so inspired by the life that she lived. Yes, yes, yes. And a responsibility for the future, for future readers. You may not write a poem or a story that's factual, but it must be the truth. And it must be as true today as it will be 100 years from now. It is a huge responsibility. And it would be better to just sometimes ignore that, but you can't. You really can't. You know, I think writers and poets are special people. You know, the Bible was written by poets. And there is the scripture that always reminds me of that, and that's Acts 17:27, which says that they should seek the Lord, though he be not far from any one of us. For in him we move and breathe and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said. For we are also his offspring. Oh, you can't create in a vacuum. It is impossible to create within a vacuum. And I've had some of my students or some people who would come and I'd ask the question, who do you read? Who do you love reading? What is a book that you've read more than once? And I had one such a person tell me, oh, I don't read other, I don't want to copy. No. That's not what you do, you know. But you have to. You need to be connected to this sphere of spiritual writers, these people who are trying to change the world. You need to be connected with them. You have to embrace and respect your art form and the art of others. You are accountable for every word that comes out of your mouth and your pen. Sooner or later, it's going to find its way back into your ear or back into your life. You need to be responsible for that. You need to also respect humanity and know that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. So the Word's always with God. Love yourself, love what you do, love your words, and lovingly put them on paper. Publish people. That's what I want you to do. I am excited to tell people that my first book was called Always a Lady. And that book got me through a very difficult time. My husband, my children's father, died and left me a widow at 34 years old. And here I had these two fabulous little girls that were watching me like a hawk. How's she gonna handle this? And I handled it well because I wrote every day. And that writing saved my life. So I had so many poems, and then I started to win a few prizes. I'd get a check in the mail every once in a while. And so I wanted a publisher. And I started seeking a publisher that would get me beyond this area of South Jersey and Philadelphia. And I received an acceptance letter from a company out of Nashville called Winston Derrick Publishers. This is going back to 1989. So that's a long time ago. And I read the contract, and the contract said exclusive rights for the next 99 years. And I'm saying like, oh no, that's a mistake. You bumped your head. Take that out, I'll sign it and cash this little check. Oh no, that's our standard contract, we're not taking it out. I said, well, you're not gonna publish my book. You know, I was working at that time, and I sent off for a Dun & Bradstreet. I'm like, who are these people? They must be crazy. And I found out who they were, and they wanted to do songs out of my first poetry. It's so lyrical. It's just, you know, like my signature piece, Cadillac Lady, which is my poetic name that most people know me as, the Cadillac Lady, was there. And I could not do that. So I just cried and went and self-published this book myself. Put it in the trunk of my car. I went to New York. I went to Massachusetts, all over Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And I think I sold 7,000 copies of that book. in 2 years. Just pushing it. And I regretted that. And then I published my second one, which was That Sweet Philly Jazz, and the third one, which was Too Much Woman. And then I got around to Rowan University asking me to write a poem to honor Miss Rosa Parks. Now they asked me to do that in 2005, and I did. And after I wrote the poem, you know, they called me, they said, oh, well, we need the title to put it into the program. And I was like, oh, I don't have a title. And I just looked up to the ceiling, up to the heavens, and it came down beyond the back of the bus. There is a Philadelphia poet and artist extraordinaire, Mr. Bernard Collins. And I said, Bernard, illustrate this book for me. Please do this for me. Let's honor the Civil Rights Movement. Let's honor Miss Rosa. And he agreed. Then a publisher called me up and said, we'd like to publish you. I was like, really? Really? So they invited me to dinner. And at this dinner, there was everyone in the room who was going to create this book. And they prayed over me. And then asked me, what does your book look like? Well, the book was going to be called Do Lord Remember Me. The editor read it and called me, we love your book, we're ready to go, but we don't see that as your title. What we see as your title is the poem that you wrote for your mother, entitled But Mostly Love. Because I'm also a performance poet, the message is clear. The message is hope, it's freedom, it's equality, it's justice, it's love. That is the message that I want to share. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. I'm working on my memoir, and it's called Breathing While Black. I have lived and struggled in this great community that my ancestors settled in all of South Jersey. And in this day and age, I am still being segregated to them. I am still being treated differently, paid less, mistreated by people who some kind of way think they're entitled to do that. Bigots are the biggest idiots in the land, for they have no principles on which to stand. They feel their power lies within their colorless skin. But everybody knows that black, brown, and tan is what's in. But no matter what color the skin we're in, loving the skin we're in surely ain't no sin. They want to leave us with nothing, and you know that's true. But when we take our nothing and make it hip and new, then the bigots come back and try to take our nothing back too. And it shall be forbidden. In this day and age, we are still being mistreated. We're being killed for the beauty of our skin. We're being mistreated and denied. And yet, when the sun comes out, they run to get brown. They run to the sun to turn brown. They love their brown but not ours. It's it's so interesting. So that's one story. With my dear sister friend Deborah of Four Women Collective, we were invited to Selma, Alabama for the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. And not all of us from this area could go, but there were a dozen of us that went. But there was one sister who said she couldn't go. And this one sister was Emily. Emily has no legs. But we looked up on the streets of Selma, and there is Emily with her magic chair, and that needs to be written. I must write a children's book about Emily and her magic chair, because this sister's heart is bigger than anything we could ever imagine, and her spirit soared her to Selma, and it was just beautiful. And to help children understand more about disability and to include more of us. We need to tell our children that we believe in the man they're going to grow into be. We believe into the women they're going to grow into be. That's the love, the truth, the justice, the history, the culture that I want to share. What lesson would I give to would-be writers or existing writers? Settle down, calm down, listen to what's going on in your heart and your soul and your spirit, and then write that. Write up. Use your words to uplift others, and you will accomplish any goal. I can be found on Facebook, on the website. You can Google Sandra Turner-Barnes, the Cadillac Lady. You can find me that way. My books are available at Barnes & Noble, at Amazon, at eBay, so they are easy to find. You can contact me on Facebook, Cadillac711@gmail.com. Thank you.
I know who it is. My name is The Indicator. Indicator. Enough said on that one. Yo, what's up? You know what it is. It's your man, The Indicator.
Holla. Tune in, man.